What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. And welcome back to, I believe, the 5th installment of Blitz Reviews, where I do a quick take, or at least as quick of a take as I can, on a particular fragrance or a fragrance topic and let you know if I think it's worth it to check it out. I feel very, very grateful that today's video was sponsored by Parfums Vintage. If you haven't heard of them, well, you're going to hear a lot about them today. But if you have, you probably already know about their fragrances that they have in line with something called a pineapple. If you've heard of Pineapple Vintage, this is where Pineapple Vintage comes from. So they graciously sent me not one bottle, but 2 bottles and a sample. We got Pineapple Vintage Intense. This is what we'll be talking about today. This is a brand new release from this year, as well as this one, Pineapple Vintage Noir Intense, which I will be doing a review sometime later on. Whew. We'll get to that later. And this one is not out yet, but it is coming. And this is something they're calling Pineapple Vintage Beyond Noir. Again, I'll be doing a review of this later on. This one is interesting. So today, we're going to try to keep this brief as we can, straight to the point as we can. So we're talking about this one today. I've been wearing this for at least a week now, testing it out, taking notes, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on how it compares to Creed's Aventus, because we all want to know. So I got to get this out there because I know some of you guys are going to ask. I really don't care, but I know some of you guys do, what batch my Aventus is. There are different batches. They do vary in terms of proportion and scent, in terms of what notes are stronger than others, in terms of performance and all that, but we're talking about what it smells like. This is the 16E01 batch. I don't really know what that means, but to me it smells pretty fruity, much more fruity than woody and smoky. So that's my batch. So I'm comparing these two. So off the top, we've put on Aventus. Compared to this smells greener and more woody. This is definitely a little bit sweeter and has a stronger pineapple presence for sure. So let's cut to the chase here. I know what question you have in mind right now. Does Pineapple Vintage smell like Creed's Aventus? Well, let's take a look at the notes that they have in common. Pineapple, bergamot, apple, birchwood, musk, vanilla, patchouli, ambergris, rose, and jasmine. Did I miss anything? They basically have every note in common, except that Aventus allegedly uses blackcurrant, which I do pick up and which I don't think I pick up in this. So you might think, okay, they have every note in common. They must smell identical. Well, proportions of notes, again, plays a role. I don't know all of the proportions of the notes, but regardless, the fact that they have all of the same notes means that, yeah, they're going to smell pretty dang similar. But the differences, I think, lie with where these notes are placed. So in regards to the patchouli, in Aventus, the patchouli is in the heart of the fragrance, while in Pineapple Vintage, it is apparently in the base. In regards to the birchwood, again, birchwood is in the heart of Aventus, while it is in the base of Pineapple Vintage. And in regards to the pineapple, pineapple is only in the top of Aventus. That's why when it dries down, you lose the pineapple note. It's gone. In Pineapple Vintage, it is both in the heart and the top. So even when it dries through the top, when you get to that heart note, the pineapple note is still there going strong. So it retains its identity as being a pineapple fragrance, while this goes in another direction. However, once we reach that base of both of these fragrances, we're left with that vanilla, we're left with the musk and the ambergris, and then they basically kind of become the same, to be honest. I'd say when you spray them on, they're about 70% similar to my nose, but as they dry down, they get closer and closer together, and by the time you're in those final stages, like maybe after 4 or 5 hours, I'd say they're like 95% similar, really. And in terms of performance, my Creed Aventus batch performs very well. This thing lasts at least 12 hours on my skin. I can smell it around me basically all day. Pineapple Vintage Intense is the same for me. It's almost the same performance. It might even project a little bit better. So, big question. Is Pineapple Vintage Intense bottle worthy? Well, if you already have Creed Aventus, I would say no. It's a bit redundant to get this. But if you don't have Aventus, and maybe you've smelled it and you like it, but you're not ready to drop that change for it, this is definitely something to look into, for sure. And if you did want to try to sample it without committing to a full bottle of this, luckily, Parfums Vintage has been gracious enough to provide a coupon code for you guys. You can go down to the link in the description. You can put in the code coupon and you'll get $5 off their sample set. Not multiple sets, but just one set. And you can see for yourself, and it comes in a decent size. I believe it's the same as this, which is a 5 ml sample. It's a decent size sample, more than most companies will give you for a sample. So go ahead and check that out. And if you just want to take my word for it, and you want to just go ahead and blind buy this because you know you're going to like it, you're not really going to go into the red all that much. A 100 ml bottle, which is the only size this comes in, goes for 89 bucks on their website, which is significantly less expensive than Creed's Aventus, especially nowadays. So you wouldn't be losing much. All in all, I really like Pineapple Vintage. It is a great alternative. I think it's a step higher than some of the other clones of Aventus. Anyway, that's it for the 5th installment of Blitz Reviews. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you Parfums Vintage for providing me with these bottles. Stay tuned for later reviews on the other scents that they sent me. Really looking forward to testing them and letting you guys know what I think. Peace. I'll see you guys in the next one.